Came across an interesting write-up on the Commonwealth Conference of 1971, where Milton Obote or the UPC government was overthrown. And one of the major issues which took Milton Obote to Singapore was the case of arms sales to oppressive governments. He argues extensively that those arms sales will oppress the people in that country and in the neighboring countries. I think that remains appropriate today and tomorrow. An oppressive government is an oppressive government. Whether it's oppressing its own people, oppressing neighbors, is oppressive. Who are born or created in the image of God. Let us respect that image. I end with a prayer that the will of God be done in Uganda as it is in heaven today. Amen. Amen. We are told we're middle income, I don't know how many are, all sorts of figures. Then we budget for 10 million children in UPE, where we provide 20,000 for the whole year. Can 20,000 educate a child? At the same time, your parents are told you should not pay anything. There was recently a report I saw on one of the media that about 90% of UPE students go to school hungry and are unable to concentrate. This is what we're doing to set our people up. Now, I'm glad you asked what would UPC program be. And I would actually like those people, especially those in Parliament, go and pick the budget speeches, 81, 82, 83. Much of it concentrated on reviving the rural economy. And the market economy was understanding the Ugandan market. How do you empower the Ugandan farmer to earn money? One of the safeguards was, how does you get fair price for their produce? Those were farm gate prices, pushing the farm gate prices up. Incentivizing production, not this issue of pre-financing production, but incentivizing production. And when people produce, they were able to remove that production. So one of the shocks which happened in 1983 is the Ugandan economy, it suddenly picked up in the agriculture sector especially, grew by I think 38% in 1 year. The economy picked up, the rural economy picked up, and you hear the stories that, oh, in the early part of NRM, the rural economy picked up. Yes, it picked up because they're using the UPC program. That program will work today, tomorrow, and the next. But you have to value the people. You have to make sure that you're creating an avenue for the people that they can be able to earn. Today, if we had a crisis, if food failed, we don't have any storage, we don't have food reserve. I was a young person, 1984, when we had this huge drought in Ethiopia. I had just gone to the UK, my first year of A-levels, and what happened in UK is, I saw one school, the students decided to cut their budget and send the excess to their fellow students in Ethiopia. That went what people call today viral. Every school was doing it. Musicians came in, money was collected to take supplies to Ethiopia. You know one funny thing? Those NGOs ended up coming to Parliament building looking for some of the food. I was privileged to witness a letter where my father was actually, he played me this, what I'll call, I've lost this paper, help me find this paper, because earlier on I'd come to him. The school where I was, when the diet was biting, people were saying, why should I eat this muck because some nigger cannot feed themselves? The students, they were arguing, why should their diet change to feed an African? Why can't the African feed themselves? I came to my brother's office because we were doing fundraising. So later on, he has this letter. But he's saying, I've lost a letter, help me find it. I'm checking on the desk. I find this letter where these NGOs are getting their material from Nalukulongo. loaded Nakulongo on the train to go to Mombasa. What happened later? Instead of produce going from Uganda to the coast, we are now receiving World Food Program in Nakulongo. Really? The stores were given to them to take these products out, being produced by Ugandans. Incentivized production by Ugandans to take things out. The facility in Jinja was to take the grain out. People talk about we don't have facilities. Go to Mombasa, we have facilities on the port. We have warehouses, and Ugandan grain and produce was going out. That was 1980s. And somebody wants to tell you that, oh, when we came, everything was collapsed. No. The actual history of Uganda, you go and read the Hansard of Speaker Francis Butagira. If you want to know a history of a nation, look at the Hansard, look at the court record, and then also look at the media. If you want to critic Obote, look at the Hansard. And I'm not going to, I have all of these, but I want people to go and read for themselves, to go and determine for themselves, because they say, maybe this one created, but the problem with Ugandans, they don't read. They don't read. Milton Obote provided a market mechanism for the currency. 1981. Now you're saying that is socialist. Now, a socialist, Milton Obote, provided a market mechanism in 1981. Then you had a capitalist democratic, Professor Mulema, in 1986, brings a fixed economy, fixed market, fixed currency in 1986. Then you had these extreme leftists at that time, the Musevenis and the group. They go and they put a fixed. Within a few months, it collapsed because the inflation was not sustainable. They were forced now to float the currency. That is now when they removed 2 zeros and they brought the shilling to 14 shillings to $1 in 1987. What is the dollar today? So if you calculate how much the shilling has lost in the 40 years, which is 14 divided by that 3,008 or whatever, you are going to get the shilling has lost about 30,000%. We have grown, we've grown. Yes, you've grown and then you've lost, your shilling has lost 30%. Have you grown? Please, those are statistics you play around with. People now talk market economy. I'm telling you, UPC introduced the market economy in June 1981. Let anybody tell me otherwise. Museveni pretends that he introduced it. No, he didn't. The program he copied. I'll defend it anywhere. Interest of Uganda that we export. Although for me my biggest interest first is we feed the Ugandans. And this is an issue when you compare the UPC recovery program with the NRM rehabilitation development plan. Even on the question of fish, there was an issue where UPC or Obote's program was, we must first feed the children of Uganda. Right now we are concentrating more on exporting the fish. We can boast $600 million of exported fish, and then you have malnourished Ugandan children eating mongombowazi. Protein is the cheapest source, has always been the cheapest source. So for me, Ugandan first. After we fed the Ugandans, we look at the export. Now that is where you earn your income. So you need a cold facility. We have the lakes. Most of the fish come out of the Kyoga Basin. Which airports are close to the Kyoga Basin? Hoima and Gulu. Unless you want somebody to come from there, cross, I don't know how many hours with traffic, and by the time you export your fish, whatever. But if you have this cold hub, it helps. You go to other countries, they have this cold facility so that people are able to aggregate. You want the individual to do it. Now, this thing of, capitalist. Capitalist is a market economy, but at the end of the day, it's the people who matter. Can I say I'm capitalist and somebody is dying and then I say I'm not going to do anything because I'm capitalist? If you're capitalist and you won't care about somebody dying, then you're not human. We must be human first. I'm a leftist, yes, but I'm a practical, and I'm driven by market economy. Nothing which I presented does not touch on the market economy. But our approach is different. Our focus is different. Health service will only work when the first priority is the life of the citizens of Uganda. The priority today is the survival of the government in power. There's a big difference. For me and for UPC, it's the people. And where most? The children. If our children under 5, 2 million children under 5, we are ready to sacrifice them for what we're getting now, I am not ready for that. That's why I talk. That's why I stand.